Now that I'm really getting back on top of things, it's time to think about getting some of these brassicas out into that bed. There are just a few weeds that have come through, so I'm going to hoe the tops off, hoe those weeds off. I've got my hoops ready and the poles for putting the netting over. And what I've got, if I don't get them in soon, they're just going to be terrible. Some of these are looking okay, but some of them are starting to look quite poor because they've just been in these pots for too long. So we've got some Hilton green cabbage, dwarf curly kale, scarlet kale, some Verona red cabbage, and some summer purple sprouting broccoli. I've also still got quite a lot of these chard plants, so I've got some lucullis, some peppermint, yellow, and I think they're the three varieties that I've got, so I might as well pop some of those out as well. And so that's what I want to do. So everything in here is looking really good. I'll show that to you again, but what I want to focus on today is getting that bed prepped and getting the brassicas in. And Chris is getting on with some strimming for me at last, with the petrol strimmer starting to clear some of the absolute jungle that is on that side of the plot. So I'm going to get on, hoe out these weeds, get the brassicas in. they're in. So I've put the cabbages at this end, the chard in the middle, and then the kale and the purple sprouting broccoli is down at your end. So what I need to do now, I've put a little tub here to put as a beer trap, and then I've got a couple left over that we'd used in previous years. We've kind of got Mark 1 and Mark 2. I'll show those to you. So Chris had made them for me out of old plastic milk cartons, and I've got one of each of the types in there. One is better than the other because it helps to keep the rainwater out. So I want to fill them up and I'll show them to you. And of course I've already watered my nematodes in, beer traps, and then put the netting over. So all bases are covered. So the one at the other end is just a tub that I've filled. But these milk bottle ones are great. So this has just got sides cut out so the slugs can climb in for a beer fest. But that one has got flaps and it helped to keep the rain out. But the advantage is you can actually fill them by taking off the top. And it just helps to keep the rainwater out. And I thought I might as well reuse them. So that's one. And here's the other one. Try not to spill my beer. I'm shouting and I hope you can hear me, but we are having a thunder and hailstorm, so I've had to come in the polytunnel. So after that absolute torrential hail and storms, I had to stop for the day, but at least I'd got those brassicas out. So a couple of days later, I've had a package arrive and I've got another thing to show you. And I still haven't put the brassica netting on to keep the birds off, so I need to do that. What I thought I'd show you is I don't often get plants through the post, and thank you so much to all of your comments in my last video where I was asking what might be a good thing to grow up the frame across at the garden on the side of the woodshed. And something I hadn't thought of and many of you had suggested. So let's see what's in the box. So I've bought 3 of one thing and then I've cheated and bought something else as well. So I've only quickly peeked. I haven't really looked at these, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of quality these are. As I say, I don't normally buy plants in the post, and these are from Carbus Plants. So what I bought are, first and foremost, some nasturtium. So I know they're really easy to grow, but I didn't sow any this year. I haven't got any seeds and I wanted something that was going to come quite quickly. So I've got 3 of those, so let's have a look. I mean, they're not brilliant, but there's some really healthy looking bits on them. And, you know, anything that comes in the post, you know it's going to be a little bit battered from the travel. And of course, you know, the time it's taken to get here, they've gone without sort of water and light, but these are really not bad. So they've come really well packaged. They've got these little sticks in a little pot, and a band and some plastic. Not great. I'm not really a big fan of plastic, but you know what, it is what it is. And I think what I'm going to do, rather than, I was going to say, I was having a real senior moment there. I was worried I was going to damage the plant taking the band up, so I was going to chop it, but actually I can take it down, can't I? So I'll have to take the stick out, take the band down, because I might as well reuse those. And in fact, these little baggies might get reused for something, even if it's just taken out with me when I take the dogs for a walk. So yeah, that's not bad. That's its little stick. I mean, it doesn't really need that, does it? But I suppose it was for stability while it was being transported. And that's not a bad, specimen. So 3 of those, and then thank you to all of you that suggested honeysuckle. I wouldn't have thought of it. And of course, if I look after it, it's going to last me for years and keep that area looking lovely. So I've got 3 varieties, and I can't remember what the varieties are now, but I went for a mixed bunch. Let's have a look, it might tell me. No, it doesn't. It'll be on my original order, but essentially I've gone for 3, oh my goodness, 3 varieties in different colours. I think one's like a red, more reddy colour, and then a traditional yellowy, and then I can't remember what the other one is. So let's just have a look at these. So this is one, and again, not a bad little specimen, and I know it'll take a while to grow, but it will look lovely. Now this does look as if it's been pruned quite hard, but there's still some nice foliage and growth on that one. And then these are the other 2 varieties. So there's this one, which is looking really healthy, and this one, and that's got some lovely fresh shoots at the top. So I'm really looking forward to getting those in. But what I'm going to do, because obviously they're going to be a bit shocked from being transported, they were delivered this morning by the postman, so I'm going to unpack them, pop them in this tray, and just look after them in here for a couple of days, then harden them off again and then get them outside, because I presume these have been grown undercover. I don't really know. So as I say, I'm just going to look after them in here for a little bit and then eventually get them out into that bed and really enjoy watching them grow up that trellis. And of course, one of the advantages of nasturtium is not only do they look beautiful, they will self-seed, or I can gather those seeds. We can eat them, and also the leaves and flowers are great for Victor the tortoise, and he absolutely loves them. And I've normally got some by now, and of course I haven't, so it's a win-win situation. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is this beautiful, I've had another surprise gift, so thank you so much for this gorgeous gardener's mug. I absolutely love it, and again, getting a surprise package, honestly, I'm so grateful. Thank you. It makes me so happy. I feel so spoilt that in the last couple of weeks I've had 2 lots of surprise gifts. So thank you so much. So have a little swig of coffee, which tastes all the nicer for being in my lovely new mug. So I'm going to sort these out, and then I'm going to get the brassica netting out. I messed up. I thought I'd got all the poles out because they're a darker green colour, but I'd forgotten that there's one that was a tall pale green one that we chopped. I did think that the spacing looked bigger, and that's why. So I'm just going to have to take these up, recalculate. I just do it roughly with steps, and then put these extra ones in because the gaps here are a little bit too big and the netting will sag. So I wondered why I'd got a hoop left over. So let's do a little rejig. And all these are this is just blue water pipe. We were very fortunate, there was a lot of stuff here when we moved in, and a lot of this blue water pipe that didn't need to be used for anything, but you can get this quite easily and quite cheaply. So this is just the blue water pipe, and the poles are the metal ones that you can just buy, metal gardening canes. And then I use scaffold netting, and we've actually stapled wooden batons on, and I specifically use that as my brassica netting. So if you wanted to make a brassica hooped frame and net like this, I have got a video. I will pop it up above here, but it really is that simple. Some blue plastic piping, some metal garden poles, scaffold netting, and a little bit of wooden batoning, and it's super simple, and I look after them, and this must be my 4th year I think of using these. So if you take care of them, you can reuse and reuse. So let's crack on. And I've also got my owl who was over in that corner. I just popped him up there. It's a bit of a deterrent while I didn't have the netting on, and I'll find him a place to go when I'm finished. So it's a little bit tricky to do by yourself, but it can be done. But if you've got a second person and you've got the batons on, it does make it a little bit tricky on your own. Easy with 2, but it can be done with a little bit of patience. netting on, and it really is that simple. And the last thing I did was just to the two ends, you just bunch it together, give it a twist, popped a brick on it, and then some bricks and stones just to anchor it down in the gaps where the batons aren't there, and that will keep out the cabbage whites and any pesky pigeons.